What do you think is lacking in a pro league industry for retired players?
I think the biggest issue is that there's just so much turnover in esports. Like careers can be like 1 year long, 2 year long, and then you're just like gone. So there's like so much kind of like so much movement and things happening where like it's not at this time it's like usually esports is not super stable. Like you'd only be in there for like a year or two. You rarely see people like in it for like 5+ years at a time at the very highest level. So I mean I think it depends also kind of like where you are in terms of what game you're playing as well. Because like there's CS:GO players, for example, who have been playing for like almost 10 years or something like that. But I think the biggest issue is the fact that most careers are very short. And so there's not really much to benefit from afterwards. And I'm not really sure how to really like tackle the issue of like people like being retired and what they can get or stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just a problem of stability. People don't have like anything, even if like some people are forced into retirement just because they can't find other teams. There's too much of a gap between Overwatch League in our game and like the tier 2 that like is basically dead at this point. In other games like Counter-Strike and League of Legends, I assume you can always, even COD, like the players drop and then they go into tier 2 and tier 2 is still pretty good, right? So they stay warm, like they keep playing, they're not getting washed and then they can get picked up again in tier 1. We don't have that in Overwatch, so the scene is even more so unstable and like people are forced into retirement. Some people want to keep playing, but they can't practice at a good enough level and like they fall off the radar and they just never come back.
It's definitely important to have some sort of system in place, like a tier 2 system, where players can kind of go and compete at like a little bit lower stakes, but also like have the chance to get back to where they want to be at the highest level. And I think right now, in the past, when all three of us were playing the contenders, like it was sick. It was amazing. Like we all got to go to Korea and everything like that. But nowadays, there's just nothing really like that at all. So it's really sad to see. But I think that's definitely like a very important part is to have some sort of system in place where players can get back to where they want to be.
If you get an offer for the job to work in the back end of Overwatch, would you consider it or go back to college?
For me personally, I'm open to a lot of things. I want to stay within gaming as much as possible, whether it be like, manager, coach, player, whatever I can do. Because I think like it's something that I excel at and something that like I just enjoy the most. And I'm very, very much for like doing things that you enjoy, not so much for the money. So that's personally how I feel.
If I had the opportunity to be a coach, I mean, if this guy could give me a coach, I think I could definitely do it. And I would take that job for sure.
Interesting.
I mean, it's just tough,
You'd make an interesting coach.
I would. I mean, look what you got us somehow. You're a coach.
So, would you take an opportunity to become a player again?
That's tough. No opportunities coming.
I don't know if Barra is gonna let me do that, but I wouldn't do it. I would do it. It's just not something like honestly, I can barely remember when I was still playing. It feels like it's so far away. I never had the same ambition as like these guys. I just wanted to go pro and like prove that I could go pro. And then after that, like, and I didn't have the ambition to be the best or anything. I like honestly, like I could have done it in like maybe like traditional sports as well. Like that's what I was like getting the kick out of, like leading a team and like being part of like the whole team environment and everything. That's what I liked more than playing the game. So like I was lacking ambition a bit as a player. So, and I always thought that I would transition into coaching after that. So I wouldn't go back. And I think it's for the best.
What one takeaway would you tell players who are working out to be a pro?
I don't know. I think it's tough because historically, even if in traditional sports and everything, the best players, we have examples here, are the ones that like start young. So around 12 or 13 in traditional sports, that's when you start like to specialize and develop. Like in traditional sport, like soccer, for instance, in Europe, around 12, 13, you're already scouted. You're going through a program, like you do like half of school and then half of like training. And like you could see it in the sport as well. Like these guys, for instance, are very good because they have their head compared to like the other guys that like just didn't put enough time into gaming and into being better when they were younger. So they have like more hours and they get better and everything. But also like, it's pretty big risk to like drop out of high school. It's like a bet that I assume as a parent you don't want to take. So there is not one answer, like one good answer, aside from like if a sport is going to be a thing, you need to be able to have this kind of systems. Like collegiate, and even before collegiate for like the younger, to be able to play and to have an education at the same time.
What was your parents' reaction to you playing at 13 and getting into the pro scene soon after?
Oh yeah, my dad loved it. I think both my parents have always been very supportive on like whatever I wanted to do. So yeah, they were like, yeah, you're doing it. You're making this much money already at 13. Keep going, bro. That's what they told me.
I think it's important to make sure you also don't abandon like your personal life, you know, your social life or your physical health or anything like that. I think no matter what you do, just make sure that you are, you know, you thought about, you know, what you want to do and all the things that's going to impact, and make sure you take care of yourself. And that's about it. It just depends on what you want to do, where you're at in life, and that's it.